Hey gang, I'm here to wrap up last week's discussion, and on screen you can see a collage, if you will, of many of the logos that were shared last week, but then you'll also see some extra entries that I want to spend some time talking about. As always, I want to remind you to pop back into last week's discussion. It's not completely over. I was able to go in and add some information and detail about some of the logos that were discussed or some of the questions that some of you brought up about the logos. For instance, I dug a little bit deeper into the NBC logo history for you, and then also provided some information about the Starbucks logo history. This is a discussion that I love every week to have. And of course, because many logos are repeated every year when I teach this class, I have a nice little bag of tricks that I can dip into to talk about kind of the logo design and history when we're talking about certain designs. So for example, with the NBC logo, I talk about a little bit more in depth of the history. Aaron gave you some of the background. I gave you a little bit more to fill in the blanks and also pointed out the color question that came up. So I'll just leave that as a teaser. The Starbucks logo, for that matter, actually has a bit of conspiracy theory behind it that I've always chuckled about and I love sharing. So that link is in the discussion. But then even some information about particular logo artists and how they contributed to how we view logos now, which that led to some other fantastic conversation. When do you update a logo? How do you update a logo? And how do we focus on seeing the unseen? Because that's a huge piece of the logo conversation. For many of you, you had troubles distinguishing the M in the Marriott logo until you saw it with the Marriott name as it's stylized by the company. For others, you had never noticed the arrow in X for FedEx. This is where I want to call your attention to the other logos I've provided. Amazon with the very common smile that we're used to seeing. Well, that smile denotes A to Z, that you can find anything you need from A to Z on the Amazon website. And the Wendy's logo, if you've ever looked at her collar, notice how it spells mom, because Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's, was trying to convey a message of home-cooked meals. And then there's the Baskin-Robbins logo with the stylized BR for Baskin-Robbins. Some of you may remember that they were the home of the original 31 flavors, and that's where the 3 in B and the 1 in R stand out in their logo, even though they no longer use that tagline. So with that, thanks for a fantastic conversation at Logos. Let's take a look at this week. Please use the links on screen to navigate to the section of the overview you wish to access.